Lancaster University as a GIS officer, and a lot of my role involves teaching and training, but it can be to do with all things GIS. So I have about 20 years worth of professional experience. I joined MapAction in November 2020, and I'd been keen to get involved for a long time. I was waiting for the timing to be right. But I've always wanted to be able to use my professional skills to really make a difference in the lives of the most vulnerable people in times of crisis. And this was just a perfect opportunity to do that and to become part of a great community of people who are volunteering their time. One of the things that has been most impactful that I've been involved in has been training that we did with 35 participants from Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan, who are mainly information and managers working in emergency response and preparedness. Most of them had been on an earlier MapAction training course to learn some basic skills. And then 2 years later, when we've come to do the advanced course, we can see that they've already started to organise their data better. They've begun to implement simple mapping into what they're doing, and they came bursting with lots of questions about how can we do this? How can we start to model flooding so we can identify people at risk? How can we monitor snow melt better? And just seeing them start to join the dots together and us to be able to start to give them some answers and to go away into the broader team and pull on people's experience that maybe are more professional flood modelers and start to link people in there has been amazing to see that they're now more equipped to be able to prepare for disasters, to identify where the problems are going to occur, to identify the people who are likely to be most at risk and to put mitigation measures in place, as well of course to be better prepared to respond in the aftermath of an emergency. 2 weeks after joining MapAction, I had my first opportunity to really get involved in the response to an emergency. We had a field team out in Guatemala responding to Hurricane Iota and Eta, and they were asked in particular to model which communities had been cut off as a response to floods and landslides. It was beyond the capacity of the field team at the time, so they put a call out to the wider team, and I immediately identified that was part of my expertise. So at the end of my working day, I was able to switch mode and begin working on this. And it was amazing to be able to use my professional skills, knowing that it was going to make a real difference, knowing that someone on the ground was then going to target these communities for the help that they needed. And just to be able to contribute, that was an amazing feeling. One of the things that's really surprised me about MapAction is the sheer diversity and volume of work that is done. Coming into MapAction, I understood about emergency deployments and I had some awareness of all the training that they were doing with national teams. What I didn't realise was the amount of background work that was going on and the sheer volume of time and expertise that he has put onto a lot of preparing, equipping, automating, making sure everything is kept up to date and running in the background. As a volunteer, it's been amazing to then be able to choose so many things to get involved in and to see how we've all got very different strengths and expertise, and people spend very different amounts of time on different projects. I've loved in particular that I can spend my expertise on developing training and teaching material in particular, but then seeing other people who are amazing software developers or great at scripting things to automate processes, and how all of those skills just come together because of that diversity, for that team spirit that really helps each other out. One of the really unique things about MapAction, I think, is how little there is in terms of core staff and how much of it is volunteered time. And not just volunteered time, but highly expert volunteered time. The commercial cost of much of what we do would be phenomenal if it was added up. But this is time that is freely given on evenings and weekends, people giving up their annual leave to deploy to an emergency rather than go and lie on a beach somewhere. And just the extra value that that adds, so that every bit of donor money that goes in, there is so much more in terms of time that is invested that is making up that cost difference.